Toki because the year of the rabbit when I moved there, but also because it's based on the lunar calendar. I always like the fable in Korea of Oktoki or Daltoki with the rabbit living in the moon. And he's churning rice, making tok, and I thought that was, kind of made sense for on a brewing standpoint as well. My name's Bran. I'm the owner and founder of Toki Soju. I moved here from Korea where I was making traditional Korean alcohol for a while. And when I moved back to the States, I couldn't really find like the good traditional stuff that's not exported here. So I started making it for a few friends' restaurants. And then the Korean community accepted it and kind of gave me the green light and asked me to start a brand. And so Toki Soju is about a year and a half old now. I started during the Lunar New Year of 2016. Toki is called Toki because it's based on, Toki means rabbit in Korean, by the way, and it's based on my time in Korea, which was the year of the rabbit. And it was especially auspicious because it was the year of the golden rabbit, which happens every 600 years, so I thought it was a good name to pay homage to my time in Korea. I moved to Korea in 2011 and I went to Gyeonggi University where I was making traditional Korean alcohol, predominantly Cheongju, Takju, makgeolli, sojus and yakjus. I just kind of fell in love with it and thought it was really cool that it's not represented here in the US. So I'd never really had it. So when I moved back here, I took the head distiller position at Van Brunt Stillhouse, where I did their whiskey and rum program for a couple years. And shortly after, they became a partner and we launched Toki, and we do it here at Van Brunt Stillhouse as well. So soju was originally a rice-based spirit, but in Korea now it has many new different manipulations, everything from like sorghum, tapioca, and sweet potato. But this is a traditional style. My recipe that I do is kind of a Chosun dynasty style. It's made entirely out of organic chapsal, and chapsal is a short grain sweet rice from Korea. And I use nuruk, which is kind of similar to what koji is to sake's, where it's a strand called Aspergillus orzae, and I cultivate it the way they do in Korea, off of wheat cakes, and use wild yeast and then water. That's it. There's no additives, sugars, chemicals, or anything in Toki. It's totally clean, and that's why it doesn't need to be refrigerated. You could drink it at room temperature and it'll still be fine because there's no additives. And then we do a special release every year with that animal of the zodiac. For Take, or Year of the Rooster, we did a fruit brandy made from omija, and omija is a Korean berry that means 5 flavored berry. So it's kind of nice. It's not like a Western berry that we have where we equate sweetness to like strawberries or raspberries. Omija has 5 flavors. It's kind of tart, bitter, sour, sweet, and spicy, kind of like a black pepper spice. It's usually brewed in tea in Korea, but when I was in Korea and I was in Gangwon-do, I would see people spiking their tea with soju, so I thought it would kind of be an interesting play to make the soju out of the omija. And this is kind of a good representation of how a Korean fermentation happens. So it'll separate into 2 layers. The top layer is the Cheongju layer. This is what gets distilled into soju. This bottom layer is the Takju layer. This is kind of the rice sediment, and this is what gets made into makgeolli. This is, I already diluted this a little bit, so this is makgeolli, but so when you shake it up, that nice consistency. It's a live culture, so it still has some pressure, some CO2 there. And this is kind of like, I saw a guy making this particular style in Jeollado in Korea, and I really liked it. Sometimes I make it with pear, sometimes with apple, but really good. I just fell in love with just the Korean culture that surrounds it. So I love the way Koreans drink opposed to the West. Like Koreans, like you sit down, the alcohol gets respect. You sit down, you pour for each other, you cheers with each other, you drink with each other, opposed to like Western culture where you just kind of go to a bar and you drink, and I don't know, it can be very isolating and lonely sometimes. So I just like that that it's always surrounded with community. And so the first time I had soju in Makgeolli, I just kind of fell in love with the drinking culture behind it.